Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how CEOs, founders, and senior executives sell their ideas, point of view, and personal brand to the people who matter most. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want to build market eminence, amplify your influence, and attract high-value prospects, investors, partners, talent, and media opportunities with less chasing and more confidence. Let's go. Hello, my friends. This is a very special episode of The Selling Show. Shh. Don't tell the others. Don't tell the others. In fact, I gotta make sure no one's around. You're listening to episode number 500. 500! How do we get here, my friends? How did we get to episode 500 of The Selling Show? The Selling Show. So we started out this adventure, for you longtime listeners, you might remember, we started this, I think it was 2017. I should probably know, but not 100% sure. 2017, maybe 2018. Let's call it 2017. And the first couple hundred episodes, I think we just hit 190, 192, something like that. First couple hundred episodes, this program was called The Speaking Show. The Speaking Show. Speaking. So I'd done a lot of work as a professional speaker. I'd done a lot of work with and for professional speakers, consultants who speak, executives who speak, entrepreneurs who speak. In 2020, it turned out that I published a book called Do It Speaking. And here's a tip, folks. Don't write a book that gets published in January of 2020 that's on the topic of speaking, because obviously March of 2020, COVID, pandemic, worldwide shutdown, no events, no conferences, no in-person gatherings of any kind. Not a great time to publish a book on speaking. But anyway, so that's that. And then in 2022, we had our first brand change. And the brand change went from the Speaking Show to The Selling Show. Because, of course, selling, sales, that's the topic of my third book called Do It Selling that came out in 2023. Still love that little guy. So we had a couple hundred episodes there, actually more than a couple hundred. So about 200 of The Speaking Show, about 300 of The Selling Show. How is that possible? I'm getting the dates wrong here, but that's okay. You know, nostalgia can be foggy, my friends. And so now, as we cross the threshold into 500 episodes, it's still The Selling Show. Don't worry. Don't panic. No more rebranding. But we're going a little bit broader. We're going a little bit deeper, because it's not just selling products and services. We've been talking for the last couple dozen episodes about selling your ideas, selling your influence, selling buy-in and gaining buy-in, overcoming resistance, and this concept of market eminence. And of course, at this point, the Market Eminence book is coming out. It's my new book. You can check it out at marketeminence.com. It's either launching or about to launch, or launched a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure when we're releasing this, but you get the idea. Rather than me bloviating about market eminence for this episode, I thought what I would do is cut in a 33-minute masterclass that I just recently gave to a group of CEOs and founders that unpacks all of the concepts around market eminence, what it is, how it works, why you need it, what you can get started on thinking about and doing and applying in your business. But I also want to just take a very quick moment We'll do a screen share. If you're listening on audio, I will read it out loud. The new mission and direction of the selling show. So let me get that in front of you. And I think this will be pretty exciting on all fronts. So for the video people, here's what it says when you go to thesellingshow.com. It says, if you're a CEO, founder, or corporate executive, selling isn't just about your company's products and services. It's about selling your ideas, your point of view, and your personal brand to the people who matter most. In this interview-based show, we explore the intersection of selling, branding, and leadership, focusing on strategies to help you build market eminence, amplify your influence, and attract high-value clients, investors, partners, talent, and media opportunities with less chasing and more confidence. Want to write a best-selling book, speak on more virtual and in-person stages, publish attention-worthy content that converts, become an influential podcast guest or host, all in a streamlined way to amplify your impact without sacrificing focus on your core business priorities as a busy executive or entrepreneur? Cool. I know because I've done it. And with world-class guest interviews, CEO hot seats, and fly-on-the-wall insights from industry experts, each episode gives you a front row seat to exactly how you can too. Tune in, because when you master the art of selling yourself, the world listens. And that's what we have to look forward to in episodes 501 through infinity. But like I said, rather than me bloviating on and on and on, let me cut in this 33-minute masterclass. I think you'll get a lot of value from it. And there's also going to be a link to the video version. Well, no, I guess we're doing the video version. We're going to cut in the video version for the video people. Obviously, the audio people, you'll have the audio. But if you're on the website, if you go to thesellingshow.com, under this episode, I will link you to the original. It's kind of a meta, right? It's a meta thing, because I'm giving you the masterclass and then also linking you to the masterclass and the YouTube channel. And yeah, this is why you get tired after 500 episodes. This is why you get a little bit tired. But I am super excited, truly. I could not be more optimistic. I could not be more energized by the future of entrepreneurship and influence and executive presence and personal branding and market leadership and all of those things that we talk about when we're talking about market eminence. And I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you have shared this podcast, subscribed, commented, reviewed, sent it to a friend. All I can say after 500 episodes is literally, I could not have done any of this without your listenership, without your friendship, without your support, without your love. So please, 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 please understand, this is not my success. This is not my victory lap for 500 episodes. This is our combined victory lap for 500 episodes. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your eyeballs. Thank you for your earballs. Thank you for listening and subscribing and downloading and sharing the little podcast that could. That's what I'm calling the show here. It's the little podcast that could. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being along for the ride. 500 episodes down, 500 episodes to go. And let's see where this wonderful, crazy train takes us next. So here's to you and me and the next 500 episodes of The Selling Show. And here's a quick toast with my Woofy the Wonder Dog coffee cup. Here's a quick toast to your market eminence. So all the success to you. Watch this masterclass. I think you will get a lot out of it. Let's find out. All right, see you soon. Don't come out with a book that has speaking in the title in January of 2020, 3 months before the entire world shuts down. No conferences, no speaking, no live events of any kind. So bad timing on my part. I got it backwards. The Do It Selling book came out, and what we're talking about today comes out of my fourth book, which is not yet published, but late 2025, early 2026, called Market Eminence, which is all about this whole topic. So we're not going to go into everything. Obviously, we can't go into everything that's in that book unless we had like 6 weeks together, in which case I'm sure I could just read the book to you out loud. It would be fascinating. Not really. So the big question that's in front of us right now is, what does it take to get you, your product, your service, your organization, your brand, your cause, your firm noticed in a very, very, very noisy world? And my answer to that question is this term, market eminence, which is a combination of visibility and respect and brand preference. And what that means is, from our prospects, and when I say prospects, by the way, it could be people that you want to sell to, people that you want to have come work for you, people that you want to invest with you, people that you want to have acquire you. So the audience, put the capital A on that word audience, because it is all of those different stakeholders. But the first thing that they have to see, the first thing that you have to do is to get seen. So we've probably heard the bit of wisdom that no one buys anything sight unseen, or at least no one smart buys anything sight unseen. So job number one is to get seen. So you want your audience, capital A, all of those different stakeholders, to say, I see you. Then you need to communicate with them in a way that you can X-ray vision into their soul, their hopes, their dreams, their fears, the conditions, the constraints that they're under, so that they have a level of respect that says, okay, there's a lot of these firms out there, but man, this firm, this CEO, this data analytics company, this podcast interview marketing agency, they get me. They get me. And then that leads to the third magic circle here, which is brand preference. Yes, I have money to spend. Yes, I have a problem to solve. Yes, I would like some outside expertise and some outside help. I don't want all of the wannabes. I don't want all of the also-rans. I want you. Because from I see you, right, visibility in the marketplace, to a level of distinction and then respect that you get me. You're talking about issues that are important to me. You have a new interesting slant or angle or perspective on my problems that I perhaps haven't seen before, that resonates with me. I want to work with you and only you. And so not only are you the only choice, you are the safest choice and the smartest choice, so that working with anybody else would be seen as a dangerous and foolish risk. Let me repeat that just for emphasis. The entire outcome of this is that so you are so well positioned and so clearly differentiated that working with someone else, hiring someone else, engaging another company, engaging another professional services firm would be risky, dangerous, and foolish. And so you are the best choice. You are the safest choice. You are the smartest choice. So I want to talk about the bar is low, and at the same time, the bar is high. Because everyone else wants to play it safe. There's literally, in any industry, especially in the professional services world, there's 5% that have this level of market eminence. Call them what you want, mavericks, rock stars, the ones that get the lion's share of attention. And so the question for us is, how can you truly stand out, be seen, respected, and preferred? Where 95% of folks are in the red slice of that pie, the majority of that pie, called the Me Too group, just one of the crowd, also rans, just another agency, just another consulting firm, just another data analytics company, just another cybersecurity consulting firm, etc. The top 5% have done something different. And what that difference is, we're going to start to get into here. So the problem that we're solving, whether it's any of these stakeholders, whether it is getting top talent, whether it is getting more deals in the door, whether it is investors, acquisition, etc., you are waiting for the phone to ring. You have no market authority. You are doing great work in obscurity. So you're the best kept secret, essentially. Competitors consistently hog the spotlight, and that needs to stop. So the opportunity, how do we turn this around so that you start doing much better and you start to unleash some of these triggers that create market eminence? This is your opportunity to open the floodgates. When everybody's playing it safe, you stand out just a little and you win this game. This is not something that you throw the baby out with the bathwater, you do radical, crazy, silly stuff. This is not about attention-grabbing antics or gimmicks or PR stunts. A lot of times people think that that's where this is going, and that's absolutely not where this is going. But imagine if you could open the floodgates to new opportunities, people who want to work for you, people who want to buy from you, people who want to invest with you, people who want to partner with you, channel partners, referral partners, project partners, what have you. This will unleash a new level of marketplace recognition and respect so that you get the raving fans that you know that you deserve. And it, again, includes all of these different stakeholders, investors, clients, partners, the media. And that's really the goal. That's really the goal that we're after here in the world of market eminence. So I want to do a little bit of a very quick 60-second history lesson. None of what I'm talking about is new. Really sorry to tell you. None of what I'm talking about is new. Some of you are young, younger than me. That's, again, that bar is pretty low. But some people may remember some of these names. Lee Iacocca, who was the chairman of Chrysler. Chrysler had just a horrendous time in the 1970s, totally went bankrupt, and Iacocca did the big turnaround. He then wrote a book called Iacocca, and he is the original, he is the OG celebrity CEO. Before him, CEOs didn't write books. CEOs didn't give speeches. CEOs weren't interviewed except in investor relations and Wall Street kind of settings. Now, since then, of course, since the last 50 years or so, this has been a tactic adopted by big companies like the former CEO of Xerox and eBay and American Express. This is also adopted by small and mid-sized companies like 37 Signals and Nasty Gal and Gary Hirschberg, who's the founder and CEO of Stonyfield Farms Yogurt. So here's what eminence means out of the dictionary. Fame or recognized superiority. And I love this particular definition, which is why I'm sharing it with you. Fame or recognized superiority. We're not concerned with fame, but I really love recognized superiority, especially within a particular sphere or profession. That is what's going to unlock the floodgates for you. And then some of these synonyms down here are also kind of fun. Illustriousness, distinction, renown, preeminence, notability, greatness, caliber, prestige, importance, reputation, repute, note, fame, celebrity, prominence, status, standing, and rank. Okay. I'll take some of that versus being vanilla, versus being invisible, versus being looking like, acting like, and sounding like every other firm that does what we do. And that is the recipe for mediocrity. Even if you do excellent work, it is the formula for slow growth, no growth, and eventually extinction. I really wish that there was a meritocracy in the universe, that the folks that did the greatest, most amazing, most impactful work got the market eminence automatically. That is not how it works. I wish it wasn't so, but it is. The reason for that is because the world is full of people, all these different stakeholders that we've been talking about, who are on the other side of what I call the obscurity gap. So they're sitting here on the left, you're sitting here on the right. You can shout as loud as you want to, but your voice does not carry, and unfortunately, this doesn't have an echo. This valley does not have an echo, so you're not being amplified, you're being totally muted, because these folks spend their entire lives overwhelmed, lazy, busy, and befuddled. On your side, your challenge is that to the most important stakeholders, unless you do something about it, you are invisible, uncredible, isolated, and easily interchangeable with other people who do what you do. So closing this obscurity gap is what we're talking about here. Now, enter AI. AI survivability question. To what extent can your expertise be replaced by AI? And again, good news, bad news, it's the 5%, 95% breakdown. The top 5% are not sharing how-to content. The era of how-to content is over. Whether it's a speech, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a blog, whether it's anything. You need to start sharing these 3 things immediately, like today, this afternoon, when we're done with this call. How to think, what to believe, and where to focus to get ready for what's coming next. As we're sitting here today, AI is not great at doing any of those things. but humans are still great at doing all of those things. So the rest of the world is still going to be stuck in how to, me too, same old lame-o syndrome, where they're doing content marketing like it's 2011. And it's not 2011. If you're writing how-to content, if you're preaching and teaching on your webinars, on your LinkedIn posts, in your sales conversations, if you're in the land of how-to, you are obsolete because AI can do that. It is instant, it is perfect, it is free. We can argue with perfect, but it's at least instant and free. And it's perfect enough unless you care about things like the truth, facts, or mathematics, which it's still not great at. So I want you to really double down on what's on the top of this pyramid. We're going to talk about how to do this here in a moment. But these are the 3 shifts that if you just do this, you will rise head and shoulders above any also-ran, look-alike, same-o, lame-o competitor. You start teaching and preaching and shooting videos and posting content on LinkedIn and bringing into your sales conversations, not the how-to, but how to think, what to believe, so separating the wheat from the chaff, signal to noise ratio, etc., and where to focus to get ready for what's coming next, so that you can help your clients, your customers see around corners, not get ambushed, not get sideswiped, not get surprised by what's coming next in your particular target market. So the signal to noise ratio, that's another element that I just mentioned a moment ago. If you're in the red zone, it's going to be drowned out with the noise. If you're over here on the right-hand side, clean, pure signal, that is a much stronger position to build your market eminence, to build your personal brand, to build your company brand, and to accelerate your success with the stakeholders that we just mentioned. People that you want to have work for you, people that you want to have invest with you, people that you want to have partner with you, media sources that you want to cover you and interview you. And we need to stop talking about better. There is no such thing as a better web design firm. There is no such thing as a better strategy consulting firm. The better is a game that you cannot win. There's too many competitors, there's too much noise, and there's too much marketing nonsense out there. No one can tell what's better than anything else. What people can tell viscerally, immediately, in their gut, in their heart, in their mind, is different. You can stop people in their tracks by what you say and how you say it, what you do and how you do it, if it is dramatically different than what they've seen before, but still connects to who they are, their urgent, pervasive, expensive problems, issues, challenges, heartaches, headaches, goals, dreams, hopes, desired future, etc. So the important things, if I was to give you this in a fortune cookie, the fortune cookie DNA after this conversation we're having today is you need to tap into being more contrarian, going against the grain, rocking the boat, busting some myths, poking holes in some self-soothing delusions that your target market may have. You need to start sharing belief-shifting content with a very strong point of view, and you need to focus every cell of your body on distinction. When I say focus every cell of your body, every email that you send, every web page if you have a website, every LinkedIn post. The question is, would this be recognizable by anyone who reads it as uniquely and distinctly coming from us? Is this our brain power that is articulated with such a personality, such passion, such energy, such conviction, and such certainty that people go, damn, if they don't know you, they would get to know you. And if they do know you, they would say, you know what? That sounds like Derek. You know what? That sounds like Amy. You know what? That sounds like David. And that's what we're after. That bar is fairly high. Now, again, this is the table of contents of the book. So there's about 33 of these things that you can do. Not all of them, but some selection of them. I'm going to give you the 3 most important ones right now. And like I said, this affects what you say and how you say it from now on. It affects what you do and how you do it from now on. So we're going to start very easy. You need to be pissing some people off. You just do. You need to be pissing some people off. So the question I would ask if we were sitting down over a cup of coffee is, hey, who are you disturbing? Who are you pissing off? Who are you making really, really upset? I'll give you a couple of examples. Larry Wingett, very successful motivational speaker. He's kind of the anti-motivational speaker, actually, because he dresses in these very expensive cowboy shirts and he writes books like Shut Up, Stop Whining, and Get a Life. Did I say he's a motivational speaker? He might be an anti-motivational speaker. And he's got other books like You're Broke Because You Want to Be. It's called Work for a Reason. And my favorite title, Your Kids Are Your Own Damn Fault. So some people love Larry Wingett, and some people would not touch him with a 10-foot pole. There's a famous quote by the great business philosopher Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. He says, you know what's funny about the Grateful Dead? We're like licorice. That some people don't like licorice. They really don't like licorice. They hate it. They never buy licorice. It's not, it tastes like soap. Other people love licorice. And the people that love licorice a lot. A lot. They are passionate about licorice. They collect licorice, red licorice, purple licorice, licorice from Sweden and Denmark and Norway and Germany, and they're licorice fanatics. And he equated the Grateful Dead's success with, yeah, we're not for everybody, but the people that we're for, oh my God, they are all in 1,000%. Second example, because you don't need to be a motivational speaker to unleash this kind of thing. My client, Gary Markle, is a performance management consultant. He has a whole performance management consulting firm, which he actually sold, and now he's in the software business, and he also sold the software. But he comes out of a big HR background, big corporate, Fortune 500, and he says, no more performance reviews. Performance reviews are an enormous waste of time. Managers hate giving them, employees hate getting them, and the entire thing is a fool's errand. Tear up your performance review form. It is a complete waste of time. And he has replaced it with a process called catalytic coaching. Now imagine all the HR people who love their performance management form and they love their performance management process. And they're going to hire a performance management consultant to come in and improve it and expand it and deepen it and make it richer and more exciting. And Gary shows up. He goes, no, we're throwing that out. We're not doing that anymore at all. Rip it up, burn it down, stick a fork in it. It is done. Some people love that. This is music to their ears. Other people would not touch it with a 10-foot pole. That guy's crazy. That guy's a radical. That guy's a lunatic. We're not going to tear up our performance management system. Well, then it's not for you. That licorice does not have your name on it. The real question is, who are you disturbing? Who are you pissing off? Who would never touch you with a 10-foot pole? And my friends, if the answer is nobody, we're trying to make everybody happy. We have something for everyone. You are vanilla, you are not licorice, and people have a real hard time selling vanilla. They have a hard time coming to work for vanilla. They have a hard time getting acquired if they're vanilla, and they really don't get a lot of media coverage or partnership deals or anything else. They can't really command a premium fee if they're vanilla, and vanilla is not really a great place to be. So this is the first question I would ask you, and if we have a little bit of time, which I think we will, by the time I'm done ranting at you, I would love to hear the answer to this question. So if you have some thoughts right now, please jot them down, and we will get to that in a moment. So let's talk about how we can start pissing some people off. I didn't want to just kind of lay this on you and say, hey, good luck, figure that out, because that's what all the other books and that's what all the other experts are saying. By the way, I'm going to rant. Is it okay if I rant here a little bit? For the last 20 years, here's the advice that we've been given. I'm going to blame Gary Vaynerchuk. Why? He's got nothing to lose. Just create amazing content. I'm looking for the amazing content that I'm supposed to create. Powerful, generous, wonderful, attention-getting. What's amazing content? Just create remarkable videos, incredible content. I don't know what that is. I need a little more direction. I need a little more guidance. What exactly am I supposed to put out there that would put me in a category of one, get me out of the commodity problem and the obscurity problem, help me not be vanilla, and help me be more like licorice? That some people love you, advocate, repeat, refer like crazy. Some people go, yeah, that's not for me. I'm not going to hire them. They're kind of nutty. They're kind of, yeah, they're a little bit off their rocker over there. So this is my answer to the 20 years of advice that you've heard. Just go out there and create remarkable content. Create amazing, compelling content. So let's talk about how to create amazing, compelling content. First of all, this needs to reflect your personality. It needs to reflect, well, what you're for, what you're against, what you believe, what you don't believe. So some prompts, and I can share this as a PDF with you if you want to keep the prompts, but we're not going to have necessarily time to go over all of these because I've got 3 sets of these. But this is a great exercise for you to do afterwards or to do with your team. Just lock yourselves up in a Zoom room for 45 minutes and you can knock all of this out with your whole team. Number 1, what conventional wisdom in your field do you secretly think is complete nonsense, but you've never publicly challenged? If your biggest competitor were to steal one aspect of your approach tomorrow, which element would hurt the most to lose because it's so central to how you stand out? And if the answer to that is nothing, then we have a problem that needs to be addressed, right? They can take anything. It wouldn't really matter because we sound alike, we look alike, we do the same stuff, we say the same stuff. So that's a bad answer. Number 3, what harsh truth about your industry are clients desperate for someone to finally acknowledge openly? Stop lying, stop covering it up, stop sugarcoating it, stop pretending the elephant in the room isn't there. And then number 4, what strong point of view do you already hold that makes industry insiders uncomfortable but resonates deeply with your ideal clients? And the way to think about this one, I'll add an additional note to this one because sometimes when we're doing a coaching around this prompt is really helpful to people. What is it that your competitors don't say, can't say, because they don't have your expertise, experience, insights, war stories, etc.? What is it that they don't say, can't say, or are actually afraid to say? It's true with some of your best clients, but it's like, oh no, we can't say that. No, we don't. That we'd really upset the apple cart. We would be seen as, rebels and heretics and crazy people. We can't bring that out into the public. It's like crazy Aunt Ethel who lives up in the attic. They don't want to bring crazy Aunt Ethel out of the attic. That does not mean she's not there. She is totally there. Jot that down. Crazy Aunt Ethel, very important. All right, so that is one set of questions. Second set, remember I said the magic formula, how to think, not how to, but how to think about problems, challenges, issues, hopes, goals, dreams, etc. How to think, what to believe, and how to prepare for what's coming next. So the second big anchor piece that you might want to talk to your team about is, how do we see the future? What is our proprietary lens onto the future? What is coming down the pike? So some prompts to spark this discussion with your team. What bold prediction about your industry or your target market, what bold prediction would make your competitors uncomfortable if you publicly stated it? Number 2, how are your clients, their needs, or their preferences changing? Whether you like it or not, whether it's good for them or not, whether it helps you and your product or service category or not, but how are your clients, their needs, or their preferences changing? Number 3, what current industry practice do you see becoming obsolete first, and what evidence do you already see that supports that prediction? And then finally, if you were advising a client making a 3-year strategic plan, what one emerging trend would you tell them they absolutely cannot ignore and must not ignore? So that's the second category of things to build your market eminence. And then the third one is influence. So there's outside influences at work, there's market conditions, there's all sorts of trends and pressures that are on us all the time. But market leaders shape those influences right back. In other words, they are an influential force in and of themselves. We need to be an influential force on our target market, on our industry, on the future trajectory of where things are going. So this is an exercise that comes out of the book called the Brand Influence Tracker. And again, this would be a really fun thing to do with your team on Zoom in a virtual whiteboard session. List the changes. So write down 3 important shifts happening in your target market right now? For example, this might impact some people, it might not, but example I just pulled is more clients are now worried about AI in whatever industry we're targeting. Number 2 is pick your position, and there's 3 options here. Either you'll embrace it fully, shout it from the rooftops, be the biggest and boldest messenger of that message because it fits your strengths. Number 2, that is completely wrong. That is nonsense. I'm gonna bust that myth. I'm gonna challenge this because you see a different, better, smarter, cooler path ahead. And all the people that are going left, they really should be going right. And then number 3 is I'm gonna offer a fresh perspective. So you're not anti, but you have a unique angle or a unique slant or a unique opinion that is more of a yes and. Yes, that's happening, and here's how to respond. Yes, that's happening, and here's how to prepare. Yes, that's happening, and here's how to think about it so that you can benefit from this change instead of be surprised or blindsided by it. And then I'm going to encourage you, the last part of this is to take action. For each of these positions, plan at least one concrete step. So create something helpful for your target market. It could be an article, it could be a checklist, it could be a simple guide, it could be a LinkedIn article. Choose where to share it. So LinkedIn, industry event, podcast guesting, customer email going out to your main list, and then set a date to execute on that in the next 30 days. So that will get you started. That will put you, I would say that would put you in the top 20%, maybe not the top 5%, but you're going to go from plain old vanilla ice cream to top 20% of your in your field, working towards that top 5%. But just literally doing these 3 things that we've been talking about here today will catapult you immediately into the top 20%. Much more worthy of attention, much more worthy of conversation. And then I'm going to give you a couple cringe-worthy things to try and avoid. And maybe you want to audit your current website, articles, LinkedIn posts, videos, YouTube channel, etc. I call it the black marker test. If we took your content and 3 of your competitors' content, and whether it's a website, a service page, whatever, take a black marker, black out the names and the logos, would a prospect be able to tell which one is you? Generally, sadly, the answer is no, because we have not yet put this contrarian messaging into all the places that it needs to go. The second test is what I call the I should hope so test. So for example, we have an experienced team. Now we have a team of newbies that's never done this before. Never. They have no idea what they're doing. They're clueless. They're like small children. It's like, so we have an experienced team. Really? Well, I should hope so. Think about going through a car wash and you see a big sign at the entrance of the car wash and it says scratch-free brushes. Oh, wow, scratch-free brushes. Yeah. So I take my late model BMW and I'm not going to get a scratch from your brushes. Huh, that's fantastic. I'm going to this car wash all the time, right? It fails the I should hope so test. So anything obvious, anything that your competitors are doing, if you want to have some real fun, I don't think anyone here, and I'll be embarrassed. I'm just going to look at your smiling faces here. I'm going to be embarrassed if I'm wrong. I don't think anyone here necessarily runs a digital marketing agency, but if you do, or if you have a friend, I want you to type into Google award-winning digital marketing agency and see how many results you get. Because almost every digital marketing agency I've run into is an award-winning digital marketing agency. So no, it's not. That doesn't move the needle. That's not helping anyone, right? So that's the obvious, basic table stakes is the I should hope so test. And then of course there's the cliche killer. Anytime that you see a business, and especially this is really bad in our industry, professional services is famous for the cliche factor. Any cliche, and again, you can type these into Google, you find something on your homepage. A fun drinking game is you find a cliche on your homepage, you Google it, and then you guess how many instances of that actually are out there. We can do that here in a minute if you want to. Worst case scenario, you break out some nice bourbon and you have a fun afternoon. You're not going to get much work done with that drinking game, but you'll have fun. For extra credit, and this goes back into what I was saying earlier about what do others not say, can't say, or are actually afraid to say, It's the holy crap factor. Extra credit if you say something really bold, really gutsy, really contrarian, really divisive and polarizing that you totally believe, and that your best clients and your best prospects and your best employees and your best partners also believe, right? So we're only repelling the bad fits. People say, oh, we don't want to repel anyone. We don't want to offend anyone. I want you to repel your bad fits. I want you to repel people that don't believe the way that you believe. So think of it this way. If you don't risk turning some people off, you will never turn anybody on. Because again, you're trying to hedge your bets. You're trying to play that middle of the road game. So as I said, the alternative is vanilla. Nothing wrong with vanilla, but I will tell you, my friends, you deserve better. You deserve better than to be a vanilla firm with vanilla positioning. And here's Jerry Garcia again, one of his quotes about the success of the Grateful Dead. You do not merely want to be the best of the best. You want to be considered to be the only ones who do what you do. So finally, if you think about the top of the market, the business mavericks, the people that we all look up to, you might be asking, well, why do they get all the attention? You know, they look like they're a cool firm. They look like they're always having fun. They're kind of edgy. They're saying some of this stuff out there. That's the top of the iceberg, is the 10% that's visible. What's really happening below the waterline, if they've done a lot of work on their market eminence to be more visible, get more respect, have a higher level of trust, because people then come into their world pre-sold. They're pre-sold on their point of view. They're pre-sold on who they are. They're pre-sold on what they stand for. And that comes from differentiated positioning, which we talked about, how to think, not how to, which we talked about, and contrarian shift beliefs point of view. That's the new bar, is am I shifting an existing belief in the marketplace to get people to think and feel differently? And if you do that, then the inevitable movement of the iceberg is always at the bottom. It's never up at the surface. Market eminence as an AI-proof category of one. That's where you're going, and that is your key to unlock exponential growth. If you'd like some free resources, there's no opt-in, there's no email. This is ungated content. You can pop over to doitmarketing.com/hello. There's a ton of free resources, videos, interviews, PDFs, downloads, cheat sheets, FAQs about all of this. And I will turn it back to Randall for some Q&A.